Welcome back to Literature World. I'm Asif Sultan, and today we are having the second lecture on the poem Miracles by Walt Whitman. And in the first lecture, we discussed the lines from 1 to 5, and in those lines we discussed about these many miracles the poet talks about. And today in this lecture we are going to first of all explain all the lines, and then we are going to identify poetic devices. I hope that you have watched the previous lecture. If you have not, please, down in the description there is a link given. You can click on that and watch that full video, and then come back here on the second video on the poem Miracles by Walt Whitman. My dear students, I hope that you remember from the previous video that we talked about the explanation and definition of miracles. What are miracles as per the common definition? And then furthermore we talked about the definition of miracles by the poet himself, Walt Whitman, and we have discussed that he proposes that everything is a miracle. He talked about walking is a miracle, and we discussed how walking is a miracle. He talked about the people on the streets, the difference and the variation in them, and then he talked about sight, the eyesight we have, and the ability to look at the nature around, the sky itself, or the sky especially. And then he talks about the feel we get when we touch the earth, the beach, and the water itself. Okay, in today's video we shall be discussing these many lines. So now let's get started. So, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sit at table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive on a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or wonderfulness of sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or exquisite delicate thin curve of the new moon in spring. I'm sure that all the words except this maybe are easy. So exquisite, we'll be talking about that when we discuss this line. So then the poet talks about or stand under trees. So the next miracle, so this is fourth, this is fifth miracle. So dear students, don't forget to watch this video till end, because the most important thing about this poem is the poetic devices used in it. In the previous video we mentioned a few poetic devices, and in today's video we are going to identify and discuss these poetic devices. So the next miracle is trees, and like ability to stand. You know how important it is to be able to stand. Had I not been able to stand, I would have been sitting on chair, and maybe it would not have been as exciting as it is standing. And when you are able to stand, you are able to walk, you are able to stand straight. There are many meanings. The more you think about it, the more ideas you get it. Or stand under trees. You know, the miracle of trees. Had there not been trees, life would have been impossible. Would not have been able to get the very essential component, that's oxygen. We would not have been able to breathe without trees. So my dear students and dear viewers, see how important these beautiful trees around us are. And aren't they miracle? If you study science behind all these trees, the photosynthesis itself a phenomenal concept, dear students. The breathing of carbon dioxide and releasing of oxygen in the trees is phenomenal, my dear students. So as per Walt Whitman, it is a miracle. So we discussed in the previous class, previous lecture, that there are three stages of our intellect, of our learning. Number one is ignorance. Before that, we were ignorant. When we were in the mother's womb, we did not know about all these things around us. And then came the sense of wonder. And then last one, habituality. The poet is helping us to come out of this habituality and get back to that sense of wonder. When you are living in the sense of wonder, you are living in the most beautiful state, my dear students. So the poet is drawing our attention from the habituality to the world of wonder, to the world of wonder. So let's get wondered by these concepts, or stand under trees in the woods. Okay, you can add woods here, like forest, huh? Woods means forests. And then the poet talks about or talk, the ability to talk. We are the crown of creations, we human beings. And one of the reasons, one of the phenomenal faculty we have got is the ability to talk. You see other creatures, they are better seers than we are. They are better listeners than we are. We know these birds, or we know these animals, they hear more than we do. You might have studied in science. They are able to see things from far away, like falcon, like eagle. They are able to see their prey from far away in the sky. They have better ability to see. But we are distinguished because of the way we talk. We converse. Although other animals also talk, they communicate, but our communication is creative. Our communication is deep. Our communication is dynamic, my dear students. So ability to talk is a great faculty we have got. That's why we are called in Arabic language or in Urdu haywan natik, the talking animals. And that's what actually Quran talks about. When Quran talks about the different abilities God has given us, like Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaq al-Insan. Like God does not mention rest of the faculties we have got. God talks about the faculty of speaking, the faculty of talking we have got. That's what actually God mentions in Quran, in the Holy Quran, Surah Ar-Rahman. Allah says, Ar-Rahman, He is the most merciful. Allama al-Quran, He taught Quran. Khalaq al-Insan, and He created human beings. What? And Allamahul Bayan, He taught him speaking. Although He taught us everything, but the most phenomenal ability and faculty we have got is the ability to talk. My dear students, it is the words that come up out of our mouth determine our reality, determine my personality, and determine the people around me. So choose your words. That's why the wise people suggest choose your words wisely. So the ability to talk, or talk by the day with anyone I love. So we can write here the talk. Ability to talk is a miracle itself, and the sounds that move in there, wow, we really cannot understand it well. It is mind-boggling. With anyone I love, the ability to love and the sense we have of loving each other, the affinity for each other. You know, the people can do anything for love. So love is a deep emotion, the love between a mother and the child, the love between the father and the child, the love between the student and the teachers, the love between the friends, the love between the spouses. It's, my dear students, it's very, very deep feeling, and we cannot really comprehend it fully. So this ability to love is itself a miracle. So that should lead us to the sense of wonder. Okay, so the next thing the poet talks about, or sit by at table at dinner with the rest. With the rest means with the rest of the people. Like we can see here 6, 7. It's family. It's the way you interpret it. Okay, you might mention sitting, You might mention even table. Table is itself a miracle. Now you would wonder how, because where did table come from? It came from trees, the wood. Okay, where did the trees come from? The different things are happening. The clouds are associated with, connected to the rain. Had there not been rain, there would not have been trees. It's actually we people as well that the nature around us is there. Had there not been humans, there would not have been anything in this world. Anyway, so let's learn. So family itself, sitting with them, it amazes us. It is the beautiful experience we have got. But unfortunately, in today's world, we have the family around us, but we are not with the family. Our family members we ourselves are always busy with the phone. They are around us, but we are typing something. We are talking to someone who is not here, who is not present with us. So we are not living in the present. That's what actually the poet is talking about, this phenomenal idea of being present in the world. Sit at the table. It is itself a miracle in today's world, really. Sitting together without any distraction. So it's an irony. So family itself. Okay. Or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car. Many of the miracles are there. We can mention like strangers, because we talked about looking, strangers, different people around us. We already talked about the dynamism we have in us. Even our fingerprints do not match. We don't look like each other. We have the similar faculties, we have the similar shape, we have the similar body, but we are unique in our own way. So that strangeness in us is a miracle, and that's what actually poet draws our attention to. Or look at strangers opposite me riding in the cars. The invention of cars is itself a miracle, although it's the poet is talking about the miracles, natural miracles like trees, like sea, like sky, and the poet also talks about the man-made miracles, like we have the cars. It's actually the human brain that gave the birth to the invention of the things like cars and mobile phones and laptops and lights and no matter what, so on and so forth. It's a lot, my dear students. So looking at the strangers opposite you riding in the car. Now the poet talks about this wonderful miracle. That's the miracle of honeybees. If you study honeybees, you will be amazed. They are the busiest creation, my dear students. They're always busy. And see the selflessness of these honeybees. They make honey without having it. They don't have it. They make it, they manufacture it, and it is then we human beings who get the benefit from it. We have, it needs a complete lecture, rather many lectures, to talk about the wonderfulness of honeybees. So the poet says that honeybees busy around the hive. Hive is that space where they manufacture their honey. They are very, very excited and enthusiastic about it, and that's what their life is. That's what the purpose of their life is. And we learn many lessons from honeybees. I think it requires a separate video to discuss that. On a summer forenoon, that means before noon, I think, yes. Or animals. Then the poet talks about the animals feeding in the fields. So the 10th one is animals. Animals feeding in the fields. So the poet is asking us actually to observe around us, like looking at an animal feeding. It is itself a very, very beautiful sight to have in front of us. So the poet is asking us to think about it. ponder over it, and be in a sense in the world of wonder. Okay, then the poet talks about or wonderfulness of the sundown. Sundown means sunset. Or stars, or of stars shining so quiet. Quiet means silent and bright. So miracle number 11 the poet is talking about is sunset. Even sunrise is itself a miracle. It's very beautiful sight to see, and it has taken the scientists age to study the phenomena, the natural phenomena, to study how the sun rises and the sun sets. All these things are, my dear students, happening because there is some force, there is some supernatural force. Okay, and the stars which are shining very silently. There's silence, they're not making any noise, and furthermore they are so bright. Then, or the exquisite. Now here is the word exquisite. Exquisite means beautiful. Okay. Delicate means tender. In Urdu we can say nazuk, soft. Or the delicate or thin, a delicate thin curve of the new moon in spring. 12. So it is the moon, the beauty of moon. The poets have been so much obsessed with the beauty of moon, how it shines so beautifully, and it's waning and waxing. How does it happen? It is in itself a miracle. We have to be like those small kids who are even fascinated by seeing a small kid. Leave alone these big miracles and big signs. This poem is so phenomenal. It's so phenomenal. This poem reminds me of a beautiful verse from the Holy Quran, from Surah Al Imran, as far as I remember. Inna fi khalqis samawat, verily in the creation of these heavens, wa fil ars, inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard, and in the creation of this earth, wa ikhtilafil layl, and in the difference of the layl, that means night, and one nahar, and the day, la ayatil lil ulil albab, and there are the signs for those who think, who have the faculty of thinking. For them there are signs. Those who aren't able to see the miracles in it, they are like, somebody says they don't have eyes, but they have the piece of glasses behind which there are no eyes. I'm going to read rest of the lines from this paper, and then the poet talks about all these miracles with the rest of the miracles. These are few things the poet is mentioning. There are rest of the things around us, like in us even. If we start studying our own anatomy, our own biology, we'll be amazed. It's a science itself, and there are scholars who have dedicated their entire lives in studying it, and they are still yet to unravel the mystery behind our creation and the complexity of us, nervous system or whatever is in us. These with the rest, one and all, one in itself and all together, because they are all connected, are to me miracles. All of them are miracles. The whole referring means here whatever has been mentioned, the whole referring, yet each distinct. Let's learn this. Distinct and in its place. Distinct here means it is different from each other, although they are connected, the whole referring, yet each distant, but every single thing is unique in its own way. Be it the trees, And this different species of trees, every tree is special in its own way, be they animals, be they the celestial bodies like stars and sun and moon, be they the insects. Every single thing is phenomenal in its own way, yet each distinct and in its place. In its place means in its own way, it is different and distinct. Okay, now then poet says, he continues, to me every hour of the light, every single hour of the light, that means day and dark, is a miracle. Day and night, that what I was actually mentioning, the Quranic verse. Every cubic inch, you understand that cubic inch, it's the unit of measurement. So if we measure the entire space, and each cubic inch of the space, that is space, very big space, is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth. So what is on the surface of the earth? There are trees on it, there is grass, there are different insects, like plenty number of insects are there, and even I can't count how many species and things are there on the earth. Every square yard of it, square yard, again the unit of measurement. If we measure the square yard of every part of this earth, it is spread with the same. That's what actually I'm again reminded of this Quranic verse, afala yanzuruna ilal ibli kayfa khuliqat. Don't they see how this camel was created? So one of the species, one of the animals has been mentioned here. That means every animal is to be seen. It's distinct and it's phenomenal. Every animal gives us some benefit. So afala yanzuruna ilal ibli kayfa khuliqat. Don't they see how this camel was created? Wa ila samai kayfa rufiyat. How this big heaven was created. وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. And how this beautiful earth was spread, like the poet talks about spreading. وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ وَإِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ. And these mountains, they are great. So you got to think about them. Every foot of the interior, it's deep in itself. It's as deep as this universe may be. So interior of this earth is actually mystery in itself. Every foot of the interior, foot here means again the unit of measurement, the cubic inch, square yard, and foot, feet, foot of the interior swarms means gathers. So if everything in the earth gathers together, it comes with the same miracles. Now then the poet at last talks about the sea. So let me mention few more here. Space, it is earth and its interior and surface, and then the poet is talking about the sea. The poet is saying, the sea, to me, sea is the continual miracle. There are continuous miracles, and the poet is mentioning the fishes that swim in them, different species of fishes. You know that we don't use the plural of fish, so fish is always fish, but when we talk about different species of fish, so we can use the word fishes, the plural fishes, the fishes that swim in them, different kinds of it. You might have watched them on Discovery channels and different documentaries. The rocks in them, the motion of the waves, the ships with men in them, how the ship is able to float on the sea. Even Quran talks about one more miracle of the sea, that is there are different waters in the same sea, but they don't get together, they don't mix. Marajal Bahrain yaltaqiyan bainahuma barzakhul la yabghiyan. Different kinds of water in the same sea, but they are not mixing. It's itself the miracle of the sea. Ships with men in them, what stranger miracles are there? So again, the poet is beginning the poem with the rhetorical question and ending the poem with the rhetorical question. So now let's discuss the poetic devices used in this poem. If you see, the first poetic device is rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is a question the poet asks or anybody asks not to answer but to make a point. He poses the question without expecting any answer. So when the poet says, why, who makes much of miracle? He wants us to think that miracle is not something that is unusual. It's usual. It's happening every day. And at last the poet says, what stranger miracles are there? So this is the poetic device number one. Poetic device number two that is used in this poem is imagery. My dear students, if you have notebook in front of you, please write down the definition of imagery. Imagery is actually drawing pictures through words. A painter draws picture by using color, by using paint. The poet also, or the writer also draws images. He makes the readers imagine some images. So that device is called imagery. You can see from the very beginning, the poet is talking about the roofs of the houses toward the sky. The roofs of the house. He's creating the image of the roof of the houses, or just walking along the beach just in the edge of water. You can imagine the beach and water. It's filled with imagery. Trees in the woods, again image. Honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, animals feeding in the fields, birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown or of stars shining so quiet and bright. Okay, then exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon. You can get the image in your mind. So all these things are imagery. Okay, now let's talk about other poetic devices used in it. So other poetic device is alliteration. My dear students, please write down the definition of alliteration. Alliteration is actually repetition of words in a line having same initial consonant sound. Same initial consonant sound. Like, for example, we have silent sky. So you can see the first initial sound is consonant in the both consonant you understand, which are other than the vowel sounds. Like S and S or S and S are the consonant sounds. Like you see from the very beginning, why, who makes much of miracle. Makes much of miracle. You can see makes much of miracle. M sound. So I'm giving you this home task to identify other alliterations from the poem. Okay, now let's talk about another type of poetic device that is used in it is anaphora. Sorry. ANAPHORA. Write down the definition, please. Anaphora is a poetic device, or it's a kind of a repetition in which there is repetition of a word or a phrase or the entire line, the beginning of each successive lines or stanzas. For example, let's see these. So it is a repetition of a word. It can be repetition of a word, or sometimes 2 words or 3 words or the entire line in the beginning of each line or each stanza. So you can see or. So each line begins with or. So this is anaphora. So anaphora is repetition of a word or a phrase or the entire line in each line or each stanza. There is a famous speech by Martin Luther King. He begins each paragraph of his speech, I would say, with, or each sentence of his speech with, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. So this is anaphora, very sweet and very beautiful poetic device used in it. If okay, one more thing that you need to mention is that there is no rhyme used in it, so it is a free verse. Let me repeat for you that Walt Whitman, the writer of this poem, is considered to be the father of free verse. He has written this book. You would say almost every poem is a free verse. There might be some exceptions as well. And he loved writing in free verse so much. So, my dear students, this is the end of this lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. In today's lecture, we finished the explanation of the entire poem and we talked about these poetic devices. If you have questions related to this poem, please write in the comment section and let us know how we are doing and what kind of videos or on which chapters you want us to make videos. I'll be more than happy to try to help you. So take good care of yourselves. May God be with you always.